Welcome everybody to RacerXOnline.com. I'm Kris Keefer and you're staring at a 2025 GasGas MC450 Factory Edition. And yeah, I mean, right when I walked out of the truck today and I looked at this thing, I was like, holy crap, it looks way better in person than it does on the internet. So happy to ride this thing here today. So what is different on the GasGas Factory Edition in 2025? Well, obviously it has the number 51 on it, so that means GasGas went to work and they put a rev cut up to 16,500. So as soon as you get on this thing, you'll be able to go on the track and just rev the holy crap out of it. Just kidding, they didn't do that. But I feel like I'm gonna give it some extra revs today because of that number. But seriously, what'd they do here? So basically, there's nothing crazy with the Factory Edition in 2025 compared to previous years. No valving changes from the standard model, no special engine changes or frame changes from the standard model, but they do come with the CUO unit, which is the connectivity unit where you can change the engine braking, power, through the app on the phone, which is really easy to do. It's one of the most interactive apps that I have tried, so I would say the whole KTM GasGas Husqvarna group did a great job with the app. And comes with an FMF slip-on. There is an insert inside of this for you guys going to email me and ask me, Keefer, should I take this thing out? No, you should not. You should leave the insert in because this bike likes back pressure. Also comes with a GasGas split clamp. So what we call that in the world of testing, the hard part clamp. I know they don't use that term anymore, but we do. Also black engine mounts, which is kind of cool. The whole black and red motif is very sexy looking. You have a black hub, you have black Excel Takasago rims. I said that right, that was tough. And black spokes, and of course a black sprocket. So I don't know, for me, just the red and black looks really sexy. You have Dunlop MX34 tires instead of the Maxxis tires that comes on the standard model. You have Pro Taper Husqvarna stock Evo bars instead of the other brand that comes on the standard model. And of course, a whole shot device, front disc guard, Rockstar Factory GasGas graphics, and an RK chain. So there are some significant upgrades to this model, but we're gonna go ride this thing here at Glen Helen Raceway today. Looking forward to springtime and summer where I don't have to say we're at Glen Helen Raceway, I can say we're back east, so that is happening pretty soon, so I'm excited about that. We'll be splitting our time back east as well on the West Coast. So, but for right now, we're gonna head to Glen Helen Raceway, we're gonna ride it. I brought my bigger rider, Eddie Laret, 230 pounds, and we're gonna put him on it and see what he thinks, so stay tuned. All right, we just wrapped up here at the 91 freeway, AKA Glen Helen, AKA 17 trainers on the side of the track, AKA 47 people pit racing through the pits. Hey everybody, we're done with the GasGas Factory Edition. So we're gonna talk about this thing right here. Brought my guy Eddie Laret in 228. 228?
228.
228, 175 pounds, not kilograms for you guys out there somewhere else besides the United States.
Yeah.
Okay, so $12,600 is this thing. $10,500 is the standard edition. So with the number 51 and all the graphics besides the looks, because my man right here is a looks guy, I'm more of a performance guy. I did ride the standard MC450, and just being here at Glen Helen, obviously we're here a lot at Glen Helen Raceway. I know the track really good. We've actually had some weather in Southern California, so for us, it is a moist day. The track isn't that deep, but for me, actually, and I can concur with you, it's snappier than I remember being the standard edition is. So for me, usually when you put a slip-on on, you're gonna lose some bottom end power. That's not the case with this one. So just right when I got on the track, I felt like, oh wow, it's actually snappier than I remember an MC450 being. So right off the hole, that's what I felt.
Yeah, same. I was right when I came back, first thing I said, I was like, man, has this got like some special map or something in it? Because it was really snappy. I do agree with you. Usually when you put a slip-on on, we kind of lose a little bit of that. But I remember back when we rode the Husqvarna that had the FMF. You know, most of the factory edition drives KTM. It's got the Akrapovic. I remember back then the KTM having, or the Husqvarna having more snap with this FMF slip-on than the Akrapovic. So kudos to FMF on this slip-on because it's really good.
And the insert is in, just like I said, at the top of this whole thing right here. Leave the insert in. Don't worry about taking it out. Keep an eye on it because they do loosen up over time. The most important thing I think about this engine is having the CUO unit. Being able to dial back your engine braking, getting the engine more aggressive, it actually does work. We talk a lot about Vortex ECUs and what those do and the parameters of that. But within a stock ECU and having the parameters to allow us, the consumer, to work with, you actually can feel it. So we actually play with that a little bit today. I've played with that before in the past, in the years past of factory editions. I'd like to have as much, or say, as little engine braking as possible on this bike. It really does free this engine up. Of course, it's brand new, so it's even tighter, but when you actually free this thing up, it corners better, it feels lighter, it gets snappier. I left the aggressive mode in the middle. I don't think I needed to be more aggressive on a track like this today, but just having that engine braking tunability is huge.
Yeah, for sure. That was the first thing I noticed. I rode it stock with everything the way it is stock, and then we slid that engine braking down, and I just noticed the bike was a lot more playful. It stayed a lot flatter entering like area one of the corner because you don't have so much inertia of the engine dragging onto the front end. Obviously, it's really soft for me. So when I'm up over the front coming in, you know, my weight transfer plus the engine inertia, it really wants to get that fork down, and I kind of get a harsh feel. When we went to that, I kind of noticed it could clean that up a little bit. It was a lot more comfortable.
So you guys wondering, like, I ride a Yamaha a lot. I've been on the Kawasaki a lot. Currently just got off of a Triumph here a couple days ago. In the world of engine character, very easy to ride, but yet has a blend of excitement. I kind of wish the Triumph was more like this engine where it had some linear feel out of a corner, but yet enough excitement to kind of hop me over a hole or someone. Yeah. So for me, it really does work as far as like a nice blend of easy to ride 450 power, but actually has some control. You're not going to get blown out in 2 laps.
Yeah, like you said, with the track the way it is today, I would expected those corners to be a little more soft and a little more playful. They were a little harder. So when you do get out onto the flat stuff, it doesn't light up and get all sideways. But it really, actually, the first time I went up the hill today, when I got on my first lap, I went up the hill and I was like, whoa, like they did a great job with this whole ignition.
It's a sneaky power. Like, it's very linear coming out of the hole, but once you accelerate, man, it really does get down the straightaway in a quick manner.
And it's easy to ride. It's still a vet-friendly bike. It's not, you know, I don't think
it's not a Yamaha YZ450.
We're not getting in the neighborhood of a YZ450. It's still a friendly bike. I think it's, you know, a decent step above the production Cowie 450. Maybe getting a little closer to the SR or the production Honda 450, but man, it was really easy to ride. I noticed that right away.
I'm pretty anal about vibration. Just relax. Don't make fun of me on those two. But I'm pretty picky about vibration, and for me, I didn't notice it as much. Maybe because I've been riding the Kawasaki a lot, and that vibrates a lot. So with the Pro Taper bar, you're getting less vibration than the standard MC450. So having that Pro Taper bar really does dampen that. So that is nice. Just overall, I like the engine character. It's a nice, friendly character. I like having a smooth, linear power on the 450. Now, the picky part about this bike is the chassis, right? KTM, GasGas, Husqvarna, they went to a different chassis last year, and now we're here with this thing. We've had some time on it. Yes, I would say that there is more compliance within this chassis, having the way this engine feels out here today at Glen Helen. I mean, I'm having one day on this, so I'm not gonna like try to like really analyze it. But for me, it is a little bit of a stiffer feel when you do hit a bump, but it's not so rigid where I'm like, I'm out. Like 2 years ago, I was like, holy crap, man, it is pretty stiff feeling. So it's not as noticeable as it was in the years past.
No, no, they definitely fixed that for me.
And you're being a bigger guy, so can you notice that stuff?
Yeah, no, it's a lot more friendly. I'm not as scared to hit square edge chops at speed, where the old bike I was like, you would almost death grip when you come up to it. Where this bike, it absorbs the stuff way better, but it does still have, it doesn't feel like a noodle. It does still have a stiff character to it. So for me, that was the biggest change in this bike, but last year, and it's changed my whole perspective on the Austrian brand. When they went to this new frame, it's really turned it around for me.
I would say you still got to be semi-careful when you're on the edge of tire. There is still some firmness there, so you're not going to get a lot of comfort within there. But as far as like setting your corner up, having some tire contact, a nice patch underneath you, you do have a nice safe feeling where you can corner. The bike does feel light, feels very flickable. The whole bike to me, I don't know if you noticed it feels short. So I can really get in and out of tight spots really easy. Again, just came off of a Yamaha and a Triumph. Those feel a little bit longer when I ride. This feels really compact and easy to maneuver.
Yeah, same. Sleek design, good rider triangle, narrow. Obviously the bars are pretty short for me. They're, I find myself kind of hunched over a lot, but not unrideable, not unbearable. It's a really comfortable. I mean, this whole configuration up here with all this Brembo brakes and Brembo hydro, it's always been good.
Husqvarna stock bend's pretty flat, so if you're a taller guy, you might want to go to a taller bend, but I think this bend is quite nice. If you measured this front end versus other Japanese bikes, the front end from the triple clamp down the axle is actually taller than other Japanese bikes, so that's why they're having a lower bend bar, so just know that. I'm very picky about suspension. I will tell you guys this. You can tell really quick when I'm out there riding, because Simon's right there, right when I get on the bike. We're filming, we're doing some action shots. So one, I don't look great right away. I'm getting older, so I need to pick that up a little bit. But also, I have a pre-notion of what this air fork's gonna feel. But when I'm out there, it didn't make me mad. Nope. It wasn't like, man, let's hurry up and get this thing over with. So those two things right there, for me, I'm like, hell yeah. It's not that bad. I complain about the air fork a lot if I'm keeping the bike a long time, but for me, there's decent amount of front end traction. There's great hold up. Again, the bike feels light. So there wasn't a lot for me to complain about and say, hey, you know what? Just put a spring conversion on. I spent a lot of time on air forks and I always go up to a spring, but for me, I shouldn't complain that much about it. It's not that bad.
I honestly feel, I mean, this is probably the first time you'll hear me say this, but I honestly feel like for your average riders, we're getting close to where you don't need spring kits. They've done such a good job with these air forks for your average guy, not a professional rider, not someone that's riding a lot, but a weekend warrior style guy that races and goes decent. These forks are they've made some pretty huge improvements.
WP and the whole group over there, they've done a great job of getting more comfort and more front end traction within an air fork. Look, I'll admit it, even on my Yamaha that I race a lot, I'm on a PSF1 air fork. So air forks can be made good. It's just a matter of doing that. And the crusty feeling of an air fork, that's gone. You don't have that feeling anymore.
I agree.
I do still feel like the rear end is low on acceleration for me. I know it's going to be low for you. You're a heavier guy, but I would like to bring that up a little bit on acceleration. But for me, if you guys are wondering, I'd run about 102 millimeters of sag, bring that up a little bit. I think we're around 104, 105. So raise that up a little bit. If you're on a faster track, you can drop this fork down. So there is some adjustability, there's tunability. $12,600 for me so far. I think this is the best looking factory edition. I thought the Kawasaki was. I pulled up here today. I'm like,
it's so funny because we did the Honda and we were like, ooh, that works edition Honda's good. Then we did the SR and we were like, that's one up. And then when we pulled in today, I was like, man, the change in the graphic this year, going to the Rockstar Energy, the race team inspired stuff, it pops. It's just really good. The bike looks amazing.
Standard issue stuff. Look, Brembo hydraulic clutch is great. We got great brakes. Throttle, I'm not a huge lock-on guy, but it's very easy. The throttle pulls very nice.
I was going to ask you about that because I did in the back. I hit a braking bump while I was kind of changing positioning, and it jerked out from underneath. It did. It got away from me for a second. So I was kind of noticing it's pretty.
Yeah,
It's pretty friendly.
nice
there.
and light pull. But if you are keeping these things a long time, these cables do only last 20 to 25 hours. So keeping fresh cables actually is something, a point of concern. So you might want to try to do that. But overall, great first day experience. We're going to keep hammering on this thing here for another few months, probably as long as they let us ride it. But as you know, we are in January, and when May comes around, guess what? 2026 model's already here. So we got about 3 to 4 months to ride this thing and give you some more information. Any other tidbits before we leave here?
Seat cover.
Hold on. $12,600, $10,500.
Yes.
He's up my you-know-what about riding this thing.
Yep.
So now we're here, we're leaving.
Yep.
Is it still,
if you told me, hey,
is it better than your Cowie? Do you
see,
like it?
it's tough. You can't compare that because
Yes, you can.
I've been struggling with my Cowie. We're getting it dialed in, but I've been struggling with my Cowie. This bike, when I just take this bike and I go out there and ride it, I can ride it. It's fun, it's playful. Compare it to the SR, because the SR was closer, suspension's kind of soft. I like this thing.
Yeah, easier to ride.
Yeah, it's just easy to ride.
Be careful on the gut seat, everybody.
It wasn't
Get a
that
chamois.
bad.
Get that chamois going because
I didn't think it was that bad.
Well, maybe it's because I've been riding all week, but it's tough.
Yeah, I that's the first thing I thought about when you told me. I was like, man, I haven't been riding that much. He's been riding a lot. I'm like, this is gonna hurt today, and it wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
but it's got good grip, like
it does
especially
got
up
good
and
grip.
down these hills. Like the
slick.
hold up is good.
If you have any questions, Kris at KeeferInkTesting.com. That is your door to walk in and say, what's up? I have a question. Can you help me? We're here to do that for you guys as much as we can. We're going to bring you some honest opinions as well right here on RacerXOnline.com. 12 issues, $30. Subscribe. Davey Coombs loves it when you subscribe to magazines. He still reads. I still read. He still reads. So if you want to read something else besides what's on the internet, get 12 issues, $30. Have yourself a ball.
I think I look at the pictures.
Oh, he looks at the
I
pictures.
don't read.
Okay.
I look at the pictures.
We'll see you on the next go around. Check you later.